Most people think heart problems come with clear warning signs: chest pain, sudden weakness, something dramatic you can't ignore. But in real life, it often doesn't work that way. For years, small changes can be happening quietly inside your body while you feel completely normal, busy with work, family, and daily life. That's what makes heart health so confusing. You can feel fine and still miss the early signals that matter most. And with so much information online, superfoods, special drinks, quick fixes, it's hard to know what's actually backed by science and what's just noise. In this video, we're going to slow things down and look at what research really says about everyday habits, simple drinks, and how your blood vessels change over time, without fear, without hype, and without promises that sound too good to be true. Before we go further, take a second to think about this. Have you ever wondered if your daily habits are really supporting your long-term heart health? If that thought has crossed your mind, feel free to share it in the comments. And stay with me, because one of the most important factors most people overlook isn't what they add to their routine. It's how everything fits together. Most people imagine heart problems as something sudden and dramatic, a clear warning, a sharp pain, a moment you can't miss. But for many people, it doesn't begin that way at all. It often starts quietly, in the background of everyday life, while you're feeling normal, busy, and focused on everything else. That's part of what makes long-term health so confusing. When nothing feels wrong, it's easy to assume everything is fine. And yet, research has shown that changes related to circulation and blood vessels can develop gradually over years, sometimes without obvious signs you'd immediately connect to heart health. This quiet nature is one reason awareness matters so much. It's not about fear or expecting the worst. It's about understanding that health is often shaped by what happens consistently over time, not just by sudden events. Many people only start thinking seriously about their heart when something feels off. But by then, habits and patterns may already be well established. That's why public health conversations today focus more on early awareness, long-term lifestyle patterns, and understanding how everyday choices add up, even when you feel fine. At the same time, we're living in an era of information overload. Open your phone and you'll see headlines about superfoods, miracle drinks, and simple fixes that claim to support heart health overnight. Some of these ideas come from real research, while others stretch the truth or remove important context. This can leave people feeling confused or even skeptical. What's actually supported by science, and what's just a trend designed to grab attention? When researchers study daily drinks like teas, fruit juices, or plant-based beverages, they're usually not looking for cures or quick transformations. Instead, they're examining how certain naturally occurring compounds interact with the body over time. These studies often focus on antioxidants, plant nutrients, and how they may relate to markers scientists use to understand cardiovascular health. The results are usually modest, nuanced, and tied closely to overall lifestyle rather than isolated habits. That's an important distinction that often gets lost online. For example, many plant-based drinks are studied because they contain compounds that help the body manage oxidative stress. Oxidative stress is a normal process, but when it's constantly elevated, it can place extra strain on tissues, including blood vessels. This doesn't mean a single drink will change your health on its own. What it does mean is that researchers are interested in how these compounds fit into broader dietary patterns that support the body's natural balance. To understand why this matters, it helps to talk about inflammation in simple terms. Inflammation isn't automatically bad. It's part of how the body protects and repairs itself. The concern arises when low-grade inflammation becomes chronic, often influenced by factors like diet quality, physical activity, sleep, and stress. Over long periods, chronic inflammation can affect how blood vessels function and respond to daily demands. That's why you'll often hear inflammation mentioned in discussions about long-term wellness, not as a diagnosis, but as a general process researchers monitor. Antioxidants are frequently discussed alongside inflammation because they help neutralize free radicals, which are byproducts of normal metabolism. When free radicals build up faster than the body can manage them, oxidative stress increases. Many fruits, vegetables, teas, and plant-based drinks naturally contain antioxidant compounds, which is why they're of interest in nutrition research. Again, this isn't about a magic solution. It's about understanding how a diet rich in varied, whole foods may support the body over time. Another major topic that comes up in public health discussions is blood pressure and how it relates to aging. As people get older, blood vessels naturally lose some of their elasticity. This is a normal part of aging, influenced by genetics, activity levels, and lifestyle habits. When blood vessels are flexible, they can adapt more easily to changes in blood flow. When they become stiffer, the cardiovascular system has to work harder. This is why flexibility and circulation are often mentioned together in health education. What's important to understand is that these changes don't happen overnight. They develop gradually, shaped by years of daily routines. That's why younger adults are increasingly included in heart health conversations today. Public health experts are noticing trends where risk factors appear earlier than they used to, often linked to sedentary lifestyles, high stress, and diets heavy in ultra-processed foods. The goal of sharing this information isn't to alarm anyone, but to encourage awareness long before serious problems arise. This brings us back to the idea of daily drinks and foods. It's tempting to look for one standout item that can counteract everything else. But research consistently shows that no single choice works in isolation. A beverage studied for its antioxidant content won't have the same context or impact if the rest of someone's diet and lifestyle are working against it. That's why scientists talk about dietary patterns rather than individual foods. It's also why responsible health content avoids presenting any one drink as the answer. Patterns matter more than perfection. What you regularly eat, how active you are, how well you sleep, and how you manage stress all interact in complex ways. Even hydration plays a role in how the body functions day to day. These factors don't operate independently. They overlap, reinforce, and sometimes counterbalance each other. Understanding this bigger picture can be freeing because it shifts the focus away from chasing trends and toward building routines that feel realistic and sustainable. Physical activity is a good example. Movement supports circulation, helps maintain flexibility in blood vessels, and plays a role in managing stress. It doesn't have to be intense or extreme to be meaningful. Regular walking, stretching, or light exercise can all be part of a heart-aware lifestyle. When paired with balanced nutrition and adequate rest, these habits support the body's natural systems without the pressure of doing everything perfectly. Sleep is another area that often gets overlooked. Poor sleep quality can affect stress hormones, appetite regulation, and overall energy levels. Over time, disrupted sleep patterns can influence how the body responds to daily demands. This is why sleep is now a major focus in wellness research. It's not just about feeling rested, it's about supporting long-term balance across multiple systems in the body. Stress management also plays a role. Chronic stress doesn't just affect mood, it can influence behaviors, sleep, and even how the body processes food. Learning to recognize stress and finding healthy ways to cope, whether through relaxation techniques, social support, or simple downtime, is increasingly recognized as part of overall health awareness. When all of these elements come together, the conversation around heart health becomes less about fear and more about understanding. It becomes a discussion about how everyday choices shape long-term outcomes, often quietly and gradually. That perspective is empowering because it places the focus on awareness rather than blame or quick fixes. If you've ever felt overwhelmed by conflicting health advice, you're not alone. Many people want to take care of their health but aren't sure where to start or what information to trust. One helpful approach is to look for consistency across reputable sources. When multiple studies and public health organizations emphasize similar themes, balanced eating, regular movement, adequate sleep, stress awareness, it's usually because the evidence points in that direction over time. This doesn't mean you need to overhaul your life overnight. Small, consistent changes tend to be more sustainable and meaningful than dramatic shifts that don't last. Paying attention to how habits fit together, rather than focusing on any single detail, can make health feel more manageable and less intimidating. As research continues to evolve, scientists keep learning more about how lifestyle factors interact with genetics and aging. What remains consistent is the idea that awareness, informed choices, and realistic habits play a central role in long-term well-being. Health isn't a destination you arrive at once. It's an ongoing process shaped by daily life. If any of this resonates with you, you're not alone in thinking about these questions. Feel free to share your thoughts or experiences in the comments. Sometimes hearing from others helps put things into perspective. And if you found this discussion helpful, consider liking or sharing it with someone who's also trying to make sense of health information in a crowded online space. In the next part of this conversation, we'll look more closely at how people can sort through health claims with a critical eye and recognize what responsible, evidence-based information really looks like. because knowing how to evaluate what you hear is just as important as the habits themselves.